That's your cue. It's your cue.
My cue for what?
I thought we were doing a podcast together.
Yeah, I thought you started it.
I did.
No, but I thought you kick it off.
Oh,
Am I supposed to be interviewing you?
I thought that's what we were doing.
Oh goodness, I wasn't sure about I didn't know I was interviewing you.
I thought that's. Oh, you want me to interview you? I can. All right, if you're ready for that, we can do it.
Sure, we can see how this goes. Right?
We
Maybe
can.
once you start interviewing me, then I'll think of some questions to start asking you.
That's fine. Well,
I would have I would have done a little more preparation had I known I was interviewing you.
I thought that's what we agreed on.
Mm.
See, this is what happens when you get married and you're a couple.
I
It's miscommunication, I think.
know. Wild hair going on.
Well, because I had thought originally when we talked about me having you on and you being Tracy, because I don't know if people aren't watching, they can't tell who it is, but it's Tracy. What's your full name?
Tra-
State it for the record.
Traci Kristine O'Brien.
Cool. No, I just remember that. I remember you saying that you would have to have like an idea of some questions that I would submit to you in advance for approval,
Yeah,
and then you would be able to talk about certain things and not about other things that you didn't want to talk about. And you can still do that.
sure.
So,
Okay.
um, well, thanks. And anytime you want to switch to interviewing me, you can.
Deal.
I mean, I don't know where to start. I think that maybe the best place to start would be to talk about your upbringing, like growing up in Davenport, and
Sure.
then kind of walk your timeline, and then I'll like come up with some questions that I have as you go through, um, you know, growing up, little sister's family, high school, college. I think there's a lot there in college we can talk about.
Yeah.
And then what will lead up to is that your current role, and then you can talk about what you can talk about and what you can't, um, and we'll explain why. But
Sure.
so I think that's a good place to start is where
Okay.
you grew up.
Well, I grew up here in Davenport, Iowa. My mom is a teacher. She was an elementary school teacher for mathematics, which really made me love mathematics when I was growing up. And then my dad owned a welding and fabricating business here locally, and he just retired from that after, gosh, nearly 50 years, if not more. Actually, it would have been more than 50 years. And that was OK Welding. And growing up, we all had to work at the welding shop. It was either answering phones or it was going out and getting parts, or my brother did a lot more than the rest of us, just learning how to weld. But anytime I welded, I had to use the grinder quite often because my welds were not that great.
Okay.
And I didn't get the big important jobs. I got the ones that were not as I'll say not as meaningful, um, and the welds weren't as big of a deal. But so we did that.
Wait, hold on. You
Sure.
say we, so you said your
Wait,
brother,
yes.
but like,
So I have two sisters and a brother. I have one older sister, and everybody lives here. And then I'm the second child, and then I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and um, they all have kids. They live here locally, and we all work at the Rock Island Arsenal as federal employees.
okay, so second born, would you be almost, I mean, is that considered the middle?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
would be considered a middle child.
yeah, because I'm a middle child,
Okay.
older brother, younger brother,
Yeah.
but I'm literally in the middle. You're kind of like
Right.
a quarter,
Oh, yeah. So, but
and you're good with math, so
yeah, I'm close with all my siblings to this date. I would say, my younger sister is probably my best friend. Um, and I don't have any children, but I have nieces and nephews, and I try to maintain very close relationships with all of my nieces and nephews. So that's me in a nutshell. I
they don't
did.
have names. I mean, you
Oh,
don't have to name the nieces and nephews, but your brothers and sisters. But
uh,
you don't want to. It's
yeah,
fine.
no, my sister is Julie, brother Brian, and then my older sister is Carrie. Um, and
So
so,
you were talking about welding and working at the shop. And what age do you think that was when you started
mm,
working there? Like when did your dad kind of let your older
Yeah.
sister and then you in there?
So it would have been high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my brother probably worked there before then. He would go down and help my dad out on stuff, and then eventually got to the point where he, was building trailers on his own, um, working through college and whatnot. But yeah, we all worked at some point in high school, and then also I worked there in college a bit. Once I graduated college, I moved out to Denver for a short bit and came back and didn't have a job yet. So I worked at the welding shop.
It was pretty quick. Like you went from
That was quick.
working there as a maybe high school to
Yeah.
going back after you graduated.
Yeah.
That's probably 5 years of time you just skipped over. Um, and I guess the question about the welding, okay, oh, the name was OK Welding. It sounded like you said OK Welding, like it was just, but that's the name of the
That's the name
company.
of it. So
Yeah.
those initials, it stood for Oswin Kammer, which was my grandfather. And my grandfather uh, owned it and started the business. And then my dad took it over once he passed.
Okay. And you mentioned trailers and like what
Yeah.
was that the primary, like let's say if the business was, 100% and you go,
Sure.
okay, 30% was trailer making or, like what is that the specialty was
Yeah,
trailers and
so
stuff?
he built custom
Okay.
trailers, and that would have been his specialty. That was what I wouldn't say their main focus was because he did all kinds of stuff. I mean, I
Right.
remember when I was in preschool, my dad had a garbage truck he was working on for the city, and I thought it was the coolest thing to get to ride in a garbage truck to preschool that day. But so he did all kinds of work.
Okay. And so you got to dabble in the making a trailer welding.
Yeah, I did a lot of probably metal fences as opposed to
Okay.
trailers.
And for people that don't know about welding, it's I'd say very special set of skills to be a good welder.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk about maybe was this like MIG welding? Was it,
I don't know if I know the
gas?
answer to
Like I don't
that.
even
I
know.
mean, he did Mig and Tig. I
Yeah.
know. I mean, I don't know all of those
Yeah.
terms. I am
Okay.
not that kind of a welder.
Yeah. Here, you keep talking. I gotta fix your microphone. Keep going.
Okay. Well, so we'll go back to kind of college. I mean, high school. I went to high school around here. I went to Davenport North. But for college, I went
Wait, where
away.
was your mom a teacher?
She was a teacher at Adams Elementary here in Davenport. And then she also, at the end of her career before she retired, she was doing the Talented and Gifted program at, I believe it was Walcott, and then one of the schools here in Davenport as well.
And did you ever go to school where she taught?
No, never.
Really?
I
And
know.
so you never had her as a teacher?
Never did. No.
Okay.
So, no, just at home. She taught me a lot about math. I loved logic problems, and so she would get me logic books for fun so that I could do on free time.
For the person on this podcast that doesn't know what logic means, what is that? Like,
So it's like um, they're essentially word problems. So
yeah,
you're solving to figure out, who did what with what object in which room. Something similar to that.
yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, we do have
It's
a
logical.
friendly competition every day between us.
Who?
You and I
Oh,
on those.
you keep kicking that
Sorry, I
cord.
don't
I
know
don't
what
know
I'm
what it
doing.
is. Just see that extra cord? Just kind of like kick it out of your way so you don't rip the. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, whatever.
Um, so you didn't even talk about high school. Like, what did
Yeah.
you do
No,
in high school?
I mean high school. I played volleyball, softball. I mean, I don't think I was in any of the other programs, I guess, but
Clubs.
yeah, I didn't do any other clubs. But I loved volleyball, loved softball, played club in both of those sports and high school. So.
Okay.
And even after high school and into college, I was playing either sand volleyball, indoor volleyball. I played beer league softball. It just something fun to do. It was not none of them were super competitive at all for after high school, but fun.
So you have an older sister, and then so when you're in high school, was college always the plan? Like,
Yeah,
and was that
college.
because your mom was a teacher? I mean, because for me, my experience was way different than most in terms of like college. Like, going wasn't even talked about ever.
Yeah, I
So,
think not going was not an option.
oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my brother, he even talked about owning my dad's welding business
Yeah.
after he retired. But my dad always said, you've got to go to school and get a job. And if you don't like it, then we'll talk about you running the business after that. But you got to get out there into the real world and try it first. So,
Okay.
yeah, that was,
So it was you were being um set up to go to college.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, so I had my, I guess, goals set on attending University of Iowa. I was originally going to be a roommate with one of my best friends from all the way, well, probably she was a best friend of mine since preschool. And she decided not to go to Iowa. I wouldn't say last minute, but so my first roommate at Iowa
Wait,
was somebody I didn't know.
do you hold a grudge against her?
No,
I'm just
not at all.
kidding. Are you
Not at
still
all.
friends with
Oh
her?
yeah, still very good friends with
Okay.
her. Yep.
You don't have to name her, but
Okay. Well, I
do
mean,
I know who it is?
yeah, you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can tell me after.
Okay. Yeah. So my first
So you
experience,
got in.
I got
So
in.
like talk about that part of it, meaning like, well, I'm just
I
asking
know.
like,
I feel like it wasn't. I mean, it
but
was.
I'm just saying you were you wanted to go to Iowa,
Yeah.
but you also have to qualify to go to Iowa. You had to take SAT, ACT, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and then you. So it's like I know they have a pretty high acceptance rate. It's like 86%.
Yeah.
So
I guess back then I wasn't. It never crossed my mind that
about not going.
that I wouldn't get
Yeah, I
accepted.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
I was a good student, honor roll student in high school. I feel like I scored decently on ACT and SAT. Um, and so, yeah, I didn't ever think it was an option that I wasn't going to get accepted. It never crossed my mind.
All right, before you get to the roommate, what did you
Yes.
go in? What?
Yeah. So originally, I wanted to be a doctor. So my goal, I started out, you know, in the pre med program. And it did not take me long to realize that I didn't want to be in school for that many years. So I pretty quickly decided against pre med. And hindsight, looking back on it, it wouldn't have taken me that long, but
So
I changed my mind.
pre-med, what kind
Hmm.
of classes are there for a freshman that's in
Yeah.
pre-med? Are they just like general like
Yeah.
electives that you're taking to get into the groove of it and then
Yeah.
gets more specialized into
Oh, yeah. So
the
it's just
later
like
years?
chemistry, biology. It's still just your basic
Yeah.
classes. I mean,
And what kind of
rhetoric.
doctor did you want to be?
I don't know that I knew that at that point. I just knew I wanted to do something with medicine.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I know. Changed my mind a couple of different times in
Oh, so wait.
college.
So you go, wait, let me think. Because you said you were supposed to be roommates with this with your friend.
Hmm.
And so now I know that I just went through the dorm process and all that with my daughter Erin, and I went through it with Trinity. So like I know it was probably a lot different then.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, even when I did it, it wasn't like you got to pick your roommate. You got assigned a room and then here's your dorm. Is that what it was like?
Yeah. So I had applied for Mayflower there, which is the dorm that's a little bit further off campus. You have to take a bus to get to get to your classes, but it was one that had a shared kitchen and a
Hmm.
shared
It's
bathroom
like an apartment.
with other suite mates. Yeah.
Okay.
So I chose that one for the kitchen. Um, I don't even think I was that great of a cook or anything back then, but I wanted the option. So yeah, so once I didn't have my friend as my roommate, then I was assigned a roommate. And my freshman year, I decided to go through the rush process, which was a week before school started. So I was up there living in the dorm, had it all to myself. Um, and then I don't even think my roommate actually showed up until mid first week of school. And so it was just kind of a surprise when she was in the room. But she came from, gosh, the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands is where she was from. Um, we got along really well in the beginning, and then it quickly turned south.
Wait, before we get into that,
Yeah,
you had said that you rushed for a sorority.
yeah. You know,
Did you want to be in a sorority?
I didn't know.
Okay. And what was that like?
I mean, it to me, which I think it's a great experience to have gone through, but to me, it really felt like I was interviewing for friends.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and people who were in sororities, I think it was a great experience for them. And I probably did miss out a bit on that. But um, I wanted to be in a sorority with people that I knew. And when that wasn't an option for me, then I chose not to join a sorority just to join. So, um, yeah, I think it's a great experience. And I wish that I would have gone through with it, but I'm sure it didn't work out for a reason. So, yeah.
And so I know because, like I said, I've got two girls that are there now, that there are a lot of people from this area that go there. So,
Mhm.
like you said, you wanted to be roommates with someone, or in a sorority with people you knew or from familiar with or whatever. But so, how many? Like, was there a lot of your other classmates that were going there? Like, how did that all?
Well, no, I don't think that there were that many of my like close friends that were going there. Um, one of my other really good friends from growing up, she went there, and then really that was about it. I mean, some other people from my class that I knew well, but it's I wouldn't say that there was a large group of friends from my class that went there.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So yeah. So yeah, so my roommate, we'll go
Mhm.
back to that. So just as I said, we got along really well in the beginning, but there were some things that just seemed a bit off to me. Like she w- said she was the reigning Miss St. Croix of the
Okay.
Virgin Islands, but that she also had I think, a 9-month-old child at the time. And the timeline just, to me, it wasn't matching. She had a boyfriend that lived on the East Coast somewhere and was going to school on the East Coast. And just one one night, I came back to the room and she was on the phone, and I think she thought that I had gone to bed and was asleep. And our beds were not in the same area, so she thought that I couldn't hear her. I think, but I heard her on the phone say, "I'm going to get a knife out of the kitchen and kill the bitch." And I froze, but I went over and asked her about it, and she completely blew me off, said she doesn't have time to talk about it. She needs to study. And so, I went to bed that night a little scared. And, I don't think we had cell phones at that point. So it's not like I could just text my mom or call my mom. We did have a phone in our room, but she could have heard the conversation. So she had class very early the next morning, and I called my mom immediately and told her, what I heard and what happened. And my mom called the school, and actually they were there within an hour, and we were packing up my stuff, and I was getting moved.
But
So
what that doesn't. I mean,
it's essentially threatening
yeah, I know,
me.
but why were you moving out and not her?
Well,
Like,
I
why
don't know.
wasn't she getting like in trouble for
Right.
trying to
So
threaten to kill you?
she denied it all. She even had her mom call our dorm room to talk to me and say she would have never said that. And I heard it.
But what I mean, what is it? Was it out of the blue? It's not like
Yeah,
so. Like guys are different than women, right?
right.
Guys are different. Where if there's a problem, you're gonna solve it like right there. Like so, if
Hmm.
it was it, can you recollect or do you even remember? Is there any time where there was some a
No,
disagreement even?
none of that.
Nothing. So it's just out of the blue.
So she thought that I was going through her stuff, is what she said. And she said something like a trunk of hers had been unlocked or something. And it wasn't me. Now, could our suite mates have come into our side of our dorm? Possible, but I think we would usually lock our bathroom door that came into ours, plus lock the kitchen door. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it was not me. So um,
Okay,
I've
so when you
never had
said
any
within an hour, your
experiences.
parents came to your
Yeah,
dorm. Okay, and then what happened? What'd you do?
I packed up.
Yeah.
I got moved to a dorm where I had friends, and they moved me into Burge. And I was going to move in with another girl. And as I was getting ready to move into that dorm, one of the girls from down the hall came and said, "Hey, I'm really good friends with, so and so, who I was getting ready to move in with. I have a single dorm down the hall. Would you like to take my single and I will take the double with, the person I was going to move
Jeez.
in with? And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I just had a horrible experience.
And how
And
long into the year were you guys?
2 weeks into the school
Two
year,
weeks into school.
max. Yeah, 2 weeks, maybe three, but it was
Wow.
very new into the school year.
And what did the school do to her?
Nothing.
What?
They did nothing.
What happened? What ended up happening to her?
Nothing.
No, I meant like, do you
Oh, I
even
mean, I
know?
don't even
You
know.
don't
No,
even
I
know.
saw her on campus like one other time after that incident and just we didn't we didn't talk or anything. So, yeah,
Wow.
nothing happened. I know. So I don't know if it's just because I couldn't like prove it and have it recorded or whatever, but
Yeah, like
I
you're
mean, it
supposed
was a
to.
verbal threat.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow.
nothing happened. So that was my well,
So
one of
then that followed out
horrible.
throughout like that year. You end up, you know, realizing that you didn't want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And so what did you end up studying?
Gosh, so I changed my major a couple of different times. So after that, then I switched to a computer science degree because I was enjoying the computer science class that I was taking, and that fizzled out pretty quickly. And my advisor talked me into doing mathematics and economics. And
Okay.
now I love math, but as I got into my sophomore year of college and was taking like derivatives and classes like that,
Yeah.
it gets much harder. And I was working a job at that time where I was working late and I had all of my classes scheduled in the morning. So I wasn't showing up for some of these classes. And if you're not going to your derivatives class, it's
Yeah,
really
it's a problem.
expensive.
Yeah.
So, so
What were
yeah,
you
so
doing for work?
I was working at a place called Sluggers up in Iowa City. It was a bar restaurant right on the Coralville Strip, I'd say. But um, I was enjoying it. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have been working late at night with early morning classes. So
And you were doing what were you doing there?
yeah,
Waitress?
waitressing. Yeah,
What do they call it now? A server?
server.
Mm.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
yeah, that was Iowa. And gosh, my sophomore year, I lived off campus, um, and just quickly realized I needed smaller smaller classes, more personal time, I guess. And so Iowa just wasn't right for me. So I transferred my junior year.
Actually, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
So you said when you were in high school or even like growing up, you wanted to go to Iowa. Did you guys ever go to Iowa and check it out?
Yeah. I mean, we went and did a campus
Oh,
tour.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was just, I mean, that's what we knew.
Yeah. All right. So after sophomore year,
Yeah.
were you working in the summers?
Yeah. I was, gosh, what was I doing in the summers? I was taking classes, but um, I think I was just working retail, either at the mall doing something for uh, summer work and Christmas work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then once I moved back, I started working at a restaurant here and as a server. So yeah.
Back, you mean going into your junior year?
Yep, going into my junior year, I moved back home and started going to a small private school here locally, St. Ambrose University. And it was a better fit for me, for my learning style. So I changed my major again to public relations and marketing. And I don't know, I loved it. So it was
And
a
you
good
were
fit.
living at home and going?
Living at home and going. And I think part of me feels like, I missed out. But if I would have gone there straight through for my 4 years, I think I would have had a better college experience. But I did meet some amazing friends my junior year that are still my greatest friends today. So it was good. Yeah. And then after college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and the job market was still pretty bad. So I just continued on and did a 1 year MBA program and got my MBA at St. Ambrose. So did that. Yeah.
And you're living at home, so that kind of cut down on the cost too.
Yeah.
But um having the 2 years at Iowa, was that an easy transfer? And like how much, like, did you end up having to do extra because of the transfer?
Mm-mm.
No?
No, that was an easy transfer. I think if I would have, if like going from community college to a bigger school, that's a harder transfer because some of the credits won't transfer. But I didn't have to retake any classes or take extra or stay longer. I still graduated in 4 years.
And did you have to, I mean, I'm assuming you had to apply to get
Yep.
in,
Yep.
right?
Had to
So
apply.
what's that acceptance? I mean, is it hard to get
Ooh,
into Ambrose? I don't know.
gosh, I- I'll be honest. I think my mom did all of this for me, so I don't know that I even know. Yeah, yeah. Good old mom.
So maybe we should ask her how
Yes.
this process is. Was it an easy application? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, I'm sure I applied, but I don't, I mean, my last semester at Iowa was pretty bad. So,
Well, that's why I'm asking. So it's
yeah,
like, okay, you get in and you go in there, and so then you end up with the graduation piece of paper. And what's your
yeah.
undergrad?
Public relations and
Yeah,
marketing.
and then you go and get an MBA.
Yep.
Okay, so now if you want to share, I mean, so now you're
Yeah.
talking about 2 years at Iowa and then 2 more years, or actually 3 years at Ambrose. What kind of tuition, what kind of, did you do
Yeah.
loans? How
So,
much debt, or if you did have debt, what was that
sure.
like?
So, I mean, my parents were amazing, but I did walk away with some debt. So, for undergrad, I walked away with 11,000 in debt and had a student loan for it. And then for my master's degree, I took a loan for all of that. So,
Which was that?
that was about 20, I'll say 25,000 roughly,
And it was only a 1 year program?
1 year program.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got like $36,000.
Yeah. So I had about 36,000 in student loans. And at the time,
I was pretty good with the math.
yeah, we consolidated and I got an interest rate of like
Yeah.
0.0875. Like it was less than 1%. So I was in no hurry to pay that loan off. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I know people walk away with a lot greater student loans, so I feel pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
so now you graduate or you get your MBA, and now what year are we talking here?
so I graduated in 2003,
Okay.
no, 2002, December of 2002 with my MBA.
Okay. In 2002, we had just had kind of like the tech boom bubble. What was it like to try to get a job at that point?
So
Like
I,
in your field, or what were
yeah,
you looking,
so
what were you trying to do?
I thought that I wanted to be in advertising or marketing, and I was applying, in some of the bigger cities, Chicago, for advertising and marketing jobs, and I just wasn't having any luck. And I moved away in January of 2003 to Denver, and I didn't have a job, but I moved there with a boyfriend at the time and was just working at a bar restaurant in downtown Denver. It was the first place right outside of Coors Field called Fido's Irish Pub and just having a good time, but not utilizing my degrees. So I was only out there for about 6 months. And my aunt, who worked for the Rock Island Arsenal here
Hmm.
for the government, had said, "Give me your resume. I'll give it to my boss and see what we can do."
Hmm.
Well, it was took about 6 months before I actually got hired. And my job interview was they called me in, and the gentleman that I interviewed with, he walked me around the area and said, "This is where you'll be sitting. This is who you'll be working with. And so, what do you think?" And I was like, "Sounds great."
Yeah, but I mean, what was the job? Like, what was the
So,
title?
yeah.
Like, what?
So, the job, it had nothing to do with public relations and marketing. So, the job was to be it was called a secondary item manager,
Okay.
which in layman's terms, it means that I was managing all the parts. So, production and then distribution of parts to our soldiers for machine gun mounts. So, yes.
Maybe we need to pause here for a second and explain for people that don't know
Yeah,
about the Rock Island Arsenal, because I think
sure.
that would help, just frame up like that industry.
Yeah,
What happens there? What goes on there? The different commands that are there,
sure.
and then you can walk through how you
Yes.
progressed.
So the Rock Island Arsenal is a military community, like right in the middle of the Mississippi River here in the Quad Cities. And it's mainly a civilian population that works there, but we do have soldiers. So the command that I worked for was the Take Automotive and Armaments Command, which has since been moved up to Michigan. But here we managed all the small arms weapons and parts. We did Abrams tanks, Bradley tanks. There was new equipment training that was out of here.
And this
I
is
mean,
all for the Army
this is all for the Army.
and the Department of Defense.
Correct. Yeah.
And do you know, and maybe I don't want to put you on the spot, but like, I think what was really cool about Rock Island Arsenal, it is an island, number one, but it's also one of the oldest, I don't know if it's the oldest military base, but it's definitely the oldest like factory or whatever, like has goes back to the Civil War, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
With
does.
munitions and
Yep. And we do have one of the largest weapons um, museums
oh yeah.
there, but funding as it is currently, the museum I don't think is going to survive on the arsenal, unfortunately. But so yeah, so I started working for I think it was January of 2004 at the Arsenal and doing small arms um, machine gun mount parts. And I
And
had
you have
no
experience
idea what I was
welding.
doing. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started, but had some great mentors. So yeah, um, but I didn't stay in that job that long. So, I, as we mentioned, I walked away with $36,000 in student loans. I was still living at home at this time. I wasn't making a lot of money initially. Um, so what I was making, I was putting towards student loans and then other debt and bills. But an opportunity came up where, with the war going on over in Iraq and Afghanistan, we were opening a small arms support center in Balad, Iraq, and we were putting civilians over there to run that facility at that time. So it was 6 month rotations, and an opportunity came up where the guy that mentored me when I first came into the job, he asked if I would want to be on his team and deploy over there. And after talking it through, I realized it was probably a good financial decision for me. A bit scary and a bit out of my element, but
Who did you talk
I
to?
did,
What
yeah.
like with did you living at home now?
Living
Your
at home,
parents.
yeah.
I mean, did you have to, ask their opinion on this whole
Oh
thing?
yeah, so I talked with my
Because it was an
parents.
active war going
Right,
on,
yeah.
right?
So I talked with my parents. Um, I I think I thought it was a little bit more safe than what it probably was. I would say that I was probably naive, but they supported my decision on it, even probably without showing how scared they were, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
so
it was really like a financially motivated,
it was,
career motivated,
yeah,
regardless of the risk factor.
right. So doing the job that I was doing at the Arsenal, I didn't know necessarily who my customers were. My dad was not in the military. My mom wasn't. My dad, he couldn't because he had a cracked skull from when he was a kid. He fell off a bike and cracked his skull, so he could never be drafted. But um, so I didn't know who my customers were. All I knew is I was talking to somebody on the phone that needed a part for a machine gun mount that was in Iraq, and it was a great experience for me to learn about the military that way.
Yeah.
So, um, and it was quite the experience.
So now your mentor, so it wasn't your boss, it was just a mentor. It was
Correct,
okay,
just my mentor.
a mentor, and he said, "Hey, there's this opportunity. You can be on my team. We're going to go to Iraq for 6 months."
Yeah,
What kind of preparation or training did they give you because you're going to be in an active
right.
military, whatever?
So, the week, I deployed on September 11th. My family dropped me off
Wait, September 11th, 2005?
2005. They dropped me off at the airport and I flew to Texas, where you go through a week of just like training,
And what are you
medical,
wearing
just
in this
making sure.
training?
So in
Isn't
Texas, I'm just wearing regular
so it's just
clothes.
regular clothes.
Yeah,
Okay.
just wearing regular clothes. I did have to do weapons qualification.
Well, what does that entail?
So you have a 9 mil pistol and you go out to the range and you fire, I think it was 6 shots. And that you just learn about weapons.
Did you
Um,
have to hit a target?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I had to hit a target because I'm pretty certain I probably didn't. But it was more about, I wasn't going to be carrying a weapon.
Okay.
So I really didn't have any need for that, but they required everyone to go through it.
And it was only a pistol?
It was only a pistol.
There was no other, it wasn't like you had to qualify with a rifle or anything?
No. And
Okay.
I just remember the woman behind me in line is crying and holding her pistol, and she didn't want to fire it. She's never fired a weapon in her life. And they just kept having to remind her to keep your weapon pointed downrange.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you can, so wait, so
Yeah.
how the hell was she being told she had to go, or was she
No, I'm
volunteering
sure
too?
she volunteered as well. And she was coming in as a contractor, which is a little bit different. I'm a
I know
federal
what you mean.
employee,
Yeah,
but
okay.
um, yeah, so I had one eye on her
Yeah, right.
the
Don't shoot me
entire
in the
time.
back.
Yeah. But so, and then,
And is this like is this an army instructor?
yeah.
So you know, okay.
Yep.
Got
So
it.
we have
Sorry.
Army instructors going through all of this with us. We also, you go through medical where you get
Hmm.
all your vaccines. And, I brought my shot record from when I was a kid and all
Yeah.
my vaccines. And I still had to get smallpox vaccine, which is live vaccine. And now we've got the scar on my arm from it. But I also had to do the anthrax shots. And I didn't, I only did the series at Texas. I didn't continue to do them once I got into theater. I didn't, I didn't really want to do those, but I did do the anthrax shots, and then you go through medical. You have to do, you fill out a form where if you're ever taken hostage, that yeah, so there's
It's like
these
a
questions,
DNR.
yeah, so there's these questions that you have to answer to be able to identify who you are.
Oh, got it.
Not a DNR.
Favorite sandwich, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, I mean, and just like all these things that you've never had to
So
prepare
different,
for in your
really
life.
crazy, different experience. Like it
Yeah,
was
very
you were
different for
like
me.
being like in the army, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And so in Texas, you're there for a week. You get issued your uniforms because as a civilian, we wore the military uniform. And so they would go through some of that with us. But as a civilian in the in a military uniform, you don't have to abide by all of the strict regulations that the military does, which was different once I was over there. So soldiers weren't used to seeing civilians in military uniform. That was very different. It was the beginning of the war there. So there was an incident where I had long hair and I didn't have it in a bun, where at that time your hair could not touch the back of your collar if you were a soldier.
Right. Okay.
Well, I just had it in a ponytail, and I was stopped inside the dining facility, which I called the DFAC the other day. But
Jeez.
I was stopped in the dining facility by a male and a female soldier who handed me the Army regulation on how to wear the military uniform properly, and they scolded me in the cafeteria that day. Um, and
So there was no different designation in uniform. It was
no,
the
there
same.
is,
Oh, there is.
but they
Okay.
didn't either notice it. So your name tape is over your gosh, now I don't even know which side your name tape is on, but your name tape is on one side, and then it's US Army, US Navy, on the other side on a tape.
Got it.
And mine said DA civilian, which is a Department of the Army civilian.
Oh,
So that
and they
was
didn't see it.
yeah. But as I said, it was having civilians over there in military uniform was very new and
Yeah.
they weren't used to. So that was one of my experiences with being a civilian over in Iraq.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's a good thing, like
Yeah.
point to be like, you go from World War II to Korea to Vietnam and then like Falkland Islands, some stupid stuff, and then you're in the next war we're really in is Kuwait or like Iraq and
Mm-hmm.
there. So yeah, I guess looking back at movies, there was like reporters that would go over and I'm not even sure if they had on uniforms either,
No,
right?
they didn't wear
Yeah,
uniforms.
so okay, that makes sense that it's like so new. And
Mm-hmm.
what did that feel like
Gosh,
putting on an army uniform and you're not in the army? I don't know. Is this
right, yeah. So it was, I, after having been there, um, I didn't know much about the military growing up. That wasn't something that was talked about in the household. We would get the recruiters calling us, and it was just a quick, I'm not interested, and hang up. But having done everything that I've done now in my career, I wish I would have, looking back, because just being in the military is just such a profound career choice. And for you to choose to serve your country is just an amazing uh, choice that people make,
Yeah.
knowing what you could be getting yourself into. So,
Okay, so now go,
yeah,
you get through, you're on that base for a week. And what
yeah.
part of Texas was it again?
So, Fort Bliss, Texas. So, El Paso.
Oh, so way down.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. So, we're there for a week. And then after going through all of that and passing everything you need to do, you hop on a plane and you're heading over to where your final destination
So
is.
what do you get to bring?
So gosh, you don't want to bring much. So I shipped a lot of stuff of my personal items
Because you knew where it
over.
was going.
Yep, because I knew where I
So it
was
was going
going.
to a specific base
Yep,
in Iraq.
yep, Balad, Iraq, Camp
Okay.
Anaconda. So yeah, so the gear that they issue you is what they issue a soldier. So
Okay.
I got gas masks.
Yeah.
I got, Kevlar, flak vest, helmet. I got everything. So I had three humongous army duffel bags full of gear. So, and it's not light. So, me trying to carry all of this stuff, like you're carrying one on your front, one on your back, and then dragging the other. So you don't want to take anything else with you. So that's all I had was what I could fit in there. And any personal items that I took down to Texas with me, I shipped back
Back home.
home. Yeah, before I left there. So
Huh.
I mean, it was ridiculous. What
At
we
any
carried.
point during that week down there, were you second guessing your decision at all?
No,
Just
I
going through
wasn't
the,
yet.
okay.
Um, Now I
And how
still
many other
didn't.
people, that was the other question I was going to say. So how many other people were like that mentor?
Right.
Were you down there with them too, or they were,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so there was
Yeah.
a group of how many about?
So there were three other males that I was going over there with. So it was three males and then me. And
Small team.
yes, very small team. So, and we all had our own specialties for what our jobs would be once we got over to the facility we'd be working out of. But so flying from Texas to Iraq. So our first stop from Texas was still in the United States. We stopped in Bangor, Maine, and
Bangor.
Bangor, Maine. Sure. So we stopped there for the first time, and then
And what kind of, wait, you missed that. What kind of plane are you on?
they contract a humongous, just commercial
Like a C-1,
plane.
oh, a regular
Yeah,
plane.
it's a
Oh, you're on
regular
a regular
plane.
plane.
So
Okay.
I think it was like 353.
Okay.
So it was large and it was completely full. There was not an empty seat on there. You're
Because
flying
now
with,
you're with other soldiers.
yep, now you're flying with soldiers,
Shit.
civilians, contractors, all going over there.
And
So
are you in the uniform?
nope. So
Okay.
you don't fly in the
I don't
uniforms.
know.
Soldiers did. Civilians did not. So I'm just wearing just
Yeah,
regular
got it.
civilian clothes, and flying from Texas to Maine, Maine to Shannon, Ireland to Ramstein, Germany, into Kuwait City, Kuwait. And then once we get to Kuwait City, we go to a military base there and we do some in processing. And then that's where they kind of start pushing you out onto planes for your final destination. So,
So hold on, let me think about this for a second
mhm,
because I'm trying to think back. So, 9/11 happens in 2001, and I think I'm pretty sure, could be wrong on the month, but it was 2003 when we kind of initiated this conflict, right?
correct.
So it was 2003. So now you're there a
A
year and a
year and a
half
half,
later. So it's a pretty active situation,
very
right?
active. So the base
And
that
it
I was
just, I
going
guess for
to,
everybody that doesn't remember it, like who, like where you're going to Iraq
mhm,
and we are fighting where?
Iraq.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So the base that I was going to is nicknamed Mortaritaville because they got mortared so often. So
Did they tell you that before you went
yes.
there? They did.
So we had a team from the Rock Island Arsenal there who opened it already,
Oh,
and we're coming in to replace them. So
and they is a 6 month thing?
yep, six
Okay.
month rotations. So it was actively being targeted on a daily basis at the time of my arrival, to the point that when I got there, for the first 30 plus days, I had to wear uh, my vest and my Kevlar helmet at all times. So anytime you were outside the building, that had to be on for over 30 days. And that's not light gear at all. Not that it was heavy. Um, so yeah, it was
And did you get bombed?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So um
Geez.
we got bombed quite often. There was one that hit about 100 yards from where the building was that I worked in. And luckily, it was before duty hours. So nobody was injured. It actually hit a porta potty and destroyed the porta potty right where we worked. So, I mean, I used to walk in the afternoons at lunchtime along the perimeter wall. Like it was not a large base by any means. I mean, it was big, but not. I mean, we got mortared a lot. Um, had some fatalities on post from it, and lots of injuries.
Okay. So I asked if you kind of second guessed your decision when you
Mm,
were in Texas, and now you're there
yeah,
in the first 30 days. What are you thinking? And like, I mean,
yeah,
what kind of contact did you have back here? And you're there kind of by yourself,
yeah,
really. And then you're doing a job too.
yeah. So, um, when we got there, so as I mentioned, I traveled with three men, and I'm the only female. And housing for us was in the building that we worked in. In this building, there are two bedrooms, and we also had was it two soldiers who also were working at that facility. So we had soldiers, and then the four, I think, gosh, three or four men. I can't even remember now off the top of my head, and then me sharing two bedrooms. So they had
Oh,
partitioned.
I have another question. Hold on.
Yeah.
So when you were in Texas and the two soldiers said you were out of uniform because of your hair,
No,
and
that
now
was in Iraq. They stopped me in the dining
oh, in the
facility.
okay, oh, okay, so in Iraq, and so what I mean, what did you continue to wear your hair however you wanted, or
No,
did
because
they
I don't
make
like
you? Yeah,
confrontation.
right.
So my hair was always in a
Okay,
bun
all right,
after that.
all right.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I thought
I,
of
I
that, but
didn't I didn't mean to if I came off disrespectful to them, that's not what I had intended. So I did start wearing a bun after that point. So yeah. But so back to my living
yeah, yeah.
arrangements. So we two bedrooms for I think it was four men and me. So in my bedroom were two other men. One man was,
How
somewhere in
big are
his
we talking?
it's not large. So we had it partitioned off to where each person maybe had a 10 by 8 space that was partitioned off, but not all the way up to the ceiling. The one of the guys in the room snored so loud. I was not getting any sleep. And then the buildings they weren't, you know, great buildings like we have here. So there's holes in the walls. So there were mice. You could hear the mice scrambling across the floor throughout the night. And I had a comforter that was a little bit longer. I had to make sure it was all folded up so the mice couldn't like jump
Invest in
onto the
it. Yeah,
comforter
yeah.
and get in bed with me. Um, so yeah, so it was not long that I had to sleep in that building because we had a female command sergeant major in our battalion who found out that I was rooming with however many men were in that building. I can't recall at the time, but that I was rooming with men, and she was like, no way. You're getting moved out. And I actually didn't want to be moved out because I felt safe in a cement hard building as opposed to moving into these what they called containerized housing units, choose, and they're just like 10 little,
Mm.
I don't even know how you would describe them, but just, yeah,
Not like a shanty, but I know what you're saying.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. And
so
what was the bed like? Was it a cot or was it a
no,
bed?
it was a bed. So there
Okay.
were mattresses. Yeah, we had one bathroom in that building to share between all of us.
And how far away from this building was your new one?
So my new one was, I'll say maybe a quarter mile, not far, but
So
it
now you
was.
got to walk to work.
Now I got to walk to work, and I actually had a vehicle, so
Oh,
I would take my vehicle back and forth.
what was the vehicle?
It was a, gosh, like a Daihatsu, uh, tiny little truck. Yeah, I mean, it was stick shift. I mean, nothing spectacular, but um, it got me every place I needed to go. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So now I moved into this chew, and I had my own bedroom, and I shared a bathroom
Okay.
with somebody on the other side. And it just so happened that my um, chew mate was a girl who became very good friends of mine just from being over there. But I'd met her a couple of times since I had been there. She worked in the same battalion that I did, and we were the same age, similar interests, so it was great. Um, so after that, I was happy to have gotten moved out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did that new one have mice too?
no,
Oh.
thank goodness, no mice. But yeah, but my experience there was something that I will probably forever be grateful for because it was just such an eye-opening experience getting to work with our soldiers. And we had the only weapons shop in all of Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, where you could get a one-for-one replacement on a weapon. So if our shop wasn't there, you would have had if your weapon was destroyed, which lots of weapons were destroyed at this point, you had to send it back to the United States and they would ship you a new one. So the process took quite a
I
while.
bet.
So our facility, we were open from 7 to 7. So we worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week. And if you knocked on our door after hours, we would open. And
So you guys had to have a lot of inventory over
we
there.
did.
I mean, tons of inventory,
So
right?
we
Because
had
all kinds of like, and it was small arms.
small arms. So it
Okay.
was 9 millimeter up to a Mark 19 grenade launcher, 50 cal machine guns. Um, yeah,
And
and
then when you're using these, they break too, right? I
sure.
mean,
Yeah. So
you've
we,
had like
so
maintenance also.
yes. So we did maintenance. Parts. If you couldn't get something in your a unit armorer for your unit and you could fix it yourself, you could come and get the parts from us, and we would help you fix it, or we had people there who could fix it. So
So I have a question about this.
yeah.
Um, that takes a lot of planning from logistics, getting all that stuff over there. And
Yeah.
so then you must have had some kind of a warehouse
Yeah, so our building was our warehouse, our maintenance shop, our supply, and then we also had
and ship.
a sitting area for
Mhm.
soldiers because
Oh,
they would spend a couple hours there sometimes if they brought a bunch of weapons in.
and you're talking about for the whole thing.
For yes, so when at this time we had just started moving from soft shell Humvees. We were still using soft shell Humvees to drive around Iraq in 2003 and 2004 and the beginning of 2005. So we had some vehicles coming in who were driving hundreds of miles in soft shell vehicles to come get a weapon fixed. So that's scary in itself because IEDs were
Yeah.
huge back then, and I mean they were through the rest of that war, but so yeah, people were risking their lives to come get new weapons, and so our shop was was always busy. We always had a line waiting. There was one day where there are a couple of days that really stick out in my mind, but one day we had weapons show up. It was over 20 weapons that were involved in a vehicle IED. So a bomb in the vehicle. Every single weapon was completely destroyed by fire. We had some of them didn't have serial numbers that were readable on them anymore. And just knowing what those soldiers had gone through with that, where you don't know if they lost friends, brothers,
Yeah.
sisters in that. Um, so we always tried to make our place inviting. offered food, drinks, TV, like whatever they needed. We were there for them and for any of that. But there was another incident that really sticks out in my mind where this unit armorer, the soldier comes in with these weapons in a black garbage bag, and um, we had to take them straight to the showers because those weapons still had human flesh on them. And so that soldier was still visibly shaken from this entire incident. Um, and so you know, instead of me being young and naive at that time, I was like, well, why didn't he wash them? And, my mentor, my boss at the time, he was like, he explained it to me as, these were his friends, his brothers, his sisters that he lost. And if we can take that from him
Yeah.
and do that for him, and so then it just clicked, it made so much more sense to me. But that shop was an important place. And we ended up opening two more facilities throughout the war, one in Baghdad, and then, gosh, I'm not even remember
It just
where the other one
seems
is, but
it seems like
Afghanistan.
the way you're describing it is like that it was up to them to come to you guys
Mm-hmm.
from all over the country.
Yeah.
It
And for
just
the
seems a
shipping.
little bit more, it seems like a weird logistics to me, where if it's the armor, you mentioned the armor came, but like I feel like there should have been, it just seems like a weird, you
Yeah.
know, um, like what kind of communications were going on
Yeah. So it was
between,
email, phone calls.
and they would say, hey, we have this is the situation. There was like fill out a
Yeah.
form and and then you mentioned serial numbers before. So I'm guessing because it's the government, you have to account for every single little part, right?
Well, not
Every,
necessarily every part, but everything that's serialized. So weapons,
yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
those are
yeah,
serial. Yeah. So anything that's serialized, we had to account for, take inventory of every single month. Um, and I mean,
So give us an idea of like the number of troops, I'll say,
mhm,
and then the number of small arms and
yeah,
weapons
gosh,
that, just an idea, like if like is it 60,000? Is it 100,000? It was
that
500,000.
we had in our shop.
Well, not just in your shop, but like that could potentially end up
Oof.
there. So just base it off the number of troops. I mean, at that
Yeah.
time, I don't even know how many.
I don't know how many soldiers we had in the war at that time.
And the other thing, I guess, like I was saying about logistics, you're saying, hey, these guys were coming from 100 miles away. It just seems weird that that would be
So
the way.
you can drive. We also had people who flew in, so helicopters. So
And
my
was it a daily thing? Was it on a
is daily.
schedule?
No,
Okay.
I mean they make their schedule. They know where we're at. They come. We've got on the base. There's transient housing, so if they need to stay there for a few
Oh,
days, there's housing there for them, and we could secure their weapons for them while for the length of time that they're there. Um, but yeah, so fly, drive.
and then did you guys have, um, like you mentioned parts, but did you also have like new weapons?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you also had like, hey, this thing is
Yeah. So
beyond repair. You need a new weapon. Here it is.
yep. So as we were the only facility in Iraq at that time where you could get a 1-for-1
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
replacement.
Okay, that's what
Yep.
that means. All right.
And so, I mean, the Tank Automotive and Armaments Command where I worked back home, we are the ones who, have, you know, the weapons parts and the actual weapons. So if I needed to get more M249 machine guns, I would just call up the item manager back home who sat a few desks away from me. And I would say, hey, we need to get 20 more shipped over here. And they would get them over to us.
So in the beginning of your job, you were on that end of it, and now
Mm-hmm.
you're on the end of it where all those are getting requested and going over there. Now you're like you're like doing
Yeah.
that. Okay, wow.
Yeah. It was
So
really
now you're
cool.
learning more about how the whole process works,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then where the rubber meets the road, basically.
Yeah.
And what about ammo?
So we didn't do anything with ammo, but there were ammunition supply points on our base where they could go get more ammunition. Our base was a logistical base. So if you needed to stock up on food and water, ammunition, weapon supplies, if your vehicles needed new tires, like all of that was right there on our base where it was a one-stop shop essentially for any of those things that you needed
And you said you
as a
guys were the
soldier.
only kind of one for one. There were other ones, other bases that had
They may have
different
had,
capabilities, or
yeah, other capabilities. They may have had people who could repair weapons on other installations, but they couldn't do a one for one replacement. They had to come to us. Yeah.
so now in retrospect, when you look back, how did that 6 months seem like it took forever, or did it seem like
Mm.
it went by fast?
So I would say it felt like it went by fast. I got to do a lot of really cool things while I was there. Um, so we had a special forces unit on the base, and they would invite us over to shoot weapons. I mean, like I'd never shot a weapon
Oh, you did in
in
Texas.
my right until then.
Yeah.
So until this experience, I'd never held a weapon, shot a weapon, and I got to fire like some old German weapons, machine guns. Um, One of the times there, Jesse James came over and filmed one of his shows there, and I was the one who took the 50 cal machine gun over for the filming. So I got to spend the entire day with Jesse James while he's filming and doing everything on the vehicle and with the machine gun mount that he was doing. And we went to the Special Forces range after that, and he was there. And we got to fire this machine gun that was firing 3,000 rounds a minute, which is incredible.
Oh,
Um,
you're good at math.
I
3,000 in a
don't
minute.
take public math.
How many is that per
I don't
second?
know.
Well,
Yeah.
is that 1800 maybe? I don't know.
No,
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 what is
who
it?
knows?
880? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not, I'm not going to attempt. But yeah, and then just, I don't know, met some really great friends from that whole experience. But 6 months, it seemed really like it flew by. But, you know, on the last night before I was departing, that installation was probably one of the most scariest nights for me on that deployment, where I was in my housing unit. Everything was packed up, getting ready to go to bed, and the sirens start going off, and you just hear the mortars coming in to our base. I could hear the machine gun fire going out, machine gun fire coming in, and I had my flak vest and my Kevlar helmet on, and I was laying on the floor just praying, please let me make it through
Hmm.
tonight. I'm going home tomorrow. And everything was fine. We got out the next day and departed for Kuwait City again.
And it's just a reverse trip
Just a
back.
reverse trip back. So I did spend a couple days in Kuwait City on the way back because my roommate, she was going home on leave at that the same day, and she stayed at a hotel in Kuwait City, and so I stayed with her. Got to experience a little bit of that culture, and then went home after that. And on the way home, you have to go back through Texas, turn in all of your gear, out process medically, and then that took, I think, usually 2 days, and then you're home. Then you go home. So
So,
yeah.
and then you went to, that's got to be almost 2006.
So I came back, yep, 2006, and my command, so TACOM, had just started this new team when I was coming back, and I asked to join this team, and it was a small arms uh, repair team. So essentially, when I came back, I joined this new team as a logistician and became a team lead. Traveled the world for like 4 to 6 weeks at a time, and went to units in the army where they were getting ready to deploy, and we either would preset all of their weapons to make sure they're ready to go and up to the standard of they call it 1020 standard, and then or when they were coming home we would reset all of their weapons. So bring them back up to their 1020 standard. And just, I got to see like some amazing places in this country and then in others where we have Army units stationed. And it was just an incredible experience for 5 years
Oh, wow.
of my career. And in that 5 years, I also deployed for a second time, and I went and ran the Small Arms Support Center in Baghdad this time, and I stayed for 8 months over there at that time. And another unique experience, but working at a facility that is very similar and did the exact same work as the one that was in Balad. But this time I was the only Department of the Army civilian, so federal employee, and I had 6 contractors that worked for me. And again, not many females
Yeah.
outside of the military, and not in small arms. And so, I was using a restroom at that time that was a men's restroom. I had to put like a little latch lock over the door when I was in there and put a sign up, so not very safe. But
And what year was that?
2007 until 2008, I
So
went
a whole
to
year.
Baghdad. Yeah. Well, it was 8 months
Oh,
total, but
okay.
yeah, just another, just
So
really cool
I guess
experience.
going back to the beginning,
Hmm.
being tapped on the shoulder and volunteering and saying I'll go, and
Yeah.
it was financial, like financially, what? So when you did the deployments, how did you get paid? And so you
Yeah.
didn't have any expenses, I'm guessing, all
No,
right?
no expenses over
Right?
there. So, so what I was, you get taxed still. So just like here, all your money is taxed. And I was making the same rate of pay, but we were working so many hours, so many overtime
Yeah,
hours. So,
yeah,
I'm working what, 84 hours a week. And then you get Sunday premium pay, holiday premium pay, and that's just double time or time and a half. I can't recall exactly, but I was able to pay off all of my like debt plus not my student loans. I was in no hurry to pay my student loans off, but I paid like any debt that I had plus put money down on a condo that I bought for myself and was able to buy all the furniture plus I had money left over with that first deployment, which was my goal. So
yeah.
yeah, I was able to be financially free.
From the second deployment,
Hmm.
now you're in Baghdad.
Now I'm in Baghdad. Yep. And I'm the senior lead for that um, small arms support center. And just some unique experience with that was at that time the weapons caches were kind of building up over there. So when soldiers were out, if they seized a bunch of
Hmm.
weapons from the enemy, they had to secure those, and they were just building up, and we didn't know what we were going to be doing with them. And we were running into this problem in Baghdad, or sorry, Balad, my first tour as well. And we had some really cool weapons come in, like ones that were etched with,
Formed and
yeah, just with,
yeah.
Saddam on them. Just really cool things. Gold plated AK-47s. So
Well,
yeah,
you know what's so crazy now I think about this, and I knew it before, but my older brother Mike, it was in the Marines, and he was an armorer, and
okay.
what you were just describing about enemy weapons, that was like his job.
Yeah.
It was getting all those weapons, and I think they would decommission those weapons.
So they,
That's what the
yeah,
Marines did. I don't know what,
yeah,
and this was in 1990 or whatever
sure,
the first, um, what was it called? The first Gulf War, but
yeah.
what was it like?
What was the?
Operation something or
Oh
other.
gosh,
I
I
don't
don't
even remember.
remember.
But anyway, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of crazy that now that's what you were doing, and
Hmm.
that's what he did too, like
Yeah. So I was
15 years
working.
before.
Yeah, I was working with the multinational corps Iraq with setting up a program where people could bring in the weapons caches. We would, figure out which ones they were. We'd send them to a warehouse. They would determine if they were weapons that they could issue back out to the government of Iraq as the the good guys of Iraq,
Gotcha.
you know. And so yeah, so we were working. I helped work that program before I left Baghdad. But yeah, just a great experience
Do you want to
both
talk
times.
about, I think that you were there, maybe it was the third time. You went
I went 3 times.
3 times. Was the third deployment when you met up with your brother?
No, my second
Second one,
deployment.
and you're in
Yeah.
Baghdad,
Yeah. So,
and you
um,
got to see
yeah, so my
some pretty
brother was
wild
there at the
stuff.
same time as me, and we went to one of Saddam's palaces. So on the post that I was on was Camp Liberty, Camp Victory. And there are a couple of Saddam's palaces there. So one, his sons also had homes, palaces. They were large, but inside the palace where the multinational core Iraq was like one of Saddam's thrones. And my brother and I happened to go over there and got our picture taken in one of his thrones and sent it back to my mom and dad for a photo. But yeah,
Mm.
it was really cool. We also, my brother, while he was there, we also went to a Toby Keith concert. Yeah, and we were like 12 people back from Toby Keith at that time, which was really cool. The things that they do for our soldiers, with comedians. We saw, a comedian there, a couple concerts, but just really neat to help boost morale. But yeah. And then, yeah, I did go a third time. This third time was just in 2019, and
And
I
where did
went
you go?
to Afghanistan.
Again.
So Bagram, no, this is new.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Bagram, Afghanistan this time. And I was the head civilian of a military unit over there, but it was military and civilian mix. So yeah.
What's similar?
No, this is completely different. So this is very similar to what I kind of do now, where this battalion was essentially a part of. Right now, I work for the Army Sustainment Command, and it was, a battalion under the Army Sustainment Command. So there are still a sustainment battalion in that, you know, part of the country, but we did anything from supply maintenance, um, contracting.
So through those three, did it seem like it was getting safer, or was it
Um,
still like? Because I'm trying to think of
yeah,
actually what was going on in 2008, 9, and then 19. I mean,
yeah.
I I
So
think the last, well, what year was it when it was 2020? Well, no, 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 2024.
no, when we pulled out,
Yeah, what year
it
was
was
it?
20. So
It was
it was
right before.
2020. It was 2020. It was
Yeah, it was
August,
2020.
right? August of 2020 when we pulled. It was August like
Yeah, I was
11th.
thinking because Biden was president. I was just
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of when that happened. Okay,
Yeah,
so now, so 19, you were there, and it
yeah.
was kind of winding down.
So yeah, it was kind of winding down. We still, uh, so had another really scary moment in December when I was there, where our base was breached. So on the opposite side of the airfield from where my building was, um, I was getting ready to go to work, and it was maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, and we heard a large boom, and it shook everything. The sirens started going off. Usually it took 20, 30 minutes for the sirens, once they went off, before you got the all clear. And when you get the all clear, you can continue on your day, leave your bunker, wherever you're at. And this was lasting a very long time, like 30, 45 minutes, an hour had passed. And like, this isn't normal. And, um, I had cell phone working on this deployment. Other
This is in
deployments, I
2019.
didn't have
Yeah, right.
cell phone and stuff. But so 2019, I had a cell phone, and I was messaging one of my coworkers, just asking if he's heard anything. Nothing. And so I was married at the time, and my husband at that time had friends who were deployed because he was in the army, and he reached out and found out that our base had been breached, and which means there's a gap or a hole in
Yeah.
the wall on the other side where the enemy could come in. And what happened was a car bomb exploded at a hospital right out about 50 meters, 100 meters outside of one of our exits on that post. And um, small arms fire, like you could hear the helicopters up above. Like you could see them right outside of my housing unit, just firing down right over top of the airfield. And we were under lockdown for over 12 hours
Oh, wow.
that day. And we had, so from where it was breached, where the bomb went off, it was probably a mile to where my building was, my housing unit. And at my housing unit, people had stuff fall off the wall from how how much that bomb shook it. We had shrapnel in the windows outside of some of the chews. Um, it was just yeah. Nobody was injured inside of our base other than we some concussions. So very lucky for anyone that was close to that explosion, but um, very scary. Not really knowing for a while what was
Yeah.
going on, and being under lockdown, and knowing that somebody could essentially come in. So, but that was really the only scary moment we had. I mean, we had mortars and bombs come in quite often on that base as well while I was there, but it always seemed to be during most of the time it was during the night.
Yeah.
Um, but another unique thing with that one, so our housing unit was right on the airfield, and they would do airplane
Touchdowns.
engine
Oh.
testing
Oh God.
in the middle of the night,
Uh,
and so, I mean, they did it all throughout the day, but I mean, you could not sleep when they were doing the testing because they have to run it for, I don't know how long they had to do it for, but
yeah.
it was long. So I was sleeping with earplugs in and noise machine, and I mean, but yeah, I mean, it was really great.
How long was that last one?
That was 6 months. Yeah. So I came home. I left around the end of June and came back the end of December.
Okay.
Yeah. But just unique experiences every single time. And just the people that I've met on each of those deployments just had lasting friendships and
Yeah.
relationships with. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think in the beginning you had mentioned, not having any military experience and
Yeah.
how, you didn't know who your customer was. And I'm guessing obviously after the first one and the second one, now you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you can kind of like connect the dots of how important the job
Oh
is.
my
And
gosh.
I
Yeah.
mean,
It's incredible. And one thing I didn't mention, which was so during my first deployment, my grandmother, she
oh
sent
yeah,
care packages every single week. And she would make the most amazing care packages where it had homemade baked goods, and she would individually wrap each little piece. And she was sending so much that we would have like a candy jar essentially over at, where people would walk in at the smaller support center, and I would take pictures with every single person that came in and got stuff out of the candy jar, if I happened to be around, and would send them back to
yeah,
her.
that's
And my
cool.
grandmother developed pen pals herself to where even after I left and after my brother was gone, she was still sending care packages to soldiers over there. And they would email her just as she was, emailing us and talking about the weather and what was going on over there that they could talk to her about. And just such an
Yeah,
amazing woman who
that's funny.
supported our troops,
Yeah.
and yeah, miss her. That
Huh.
yeah. So yeah, those were my
So now
three
you come
deployments.
back and you're back to like a little more boring.
And I don't know that I would even say my job's boring. Like,
I know,
you
I'm just
know,
saying compared to
correct. Yeah, it's
getting,
different. I have loved my jobs that I've done over my 21-year career, and never thought this is what I'd be doing. But I mean, I'm so thankful for being in this career. So yeah,
yeah,
just really cool experiences.
you're not a doctor
I know. I'm
and
not a computer
you're not a
science.
marketing person. Well, actually, I take that
Yeah.
back,
Yeah, true.
right?
Yeah, no, yeah, not in marketing per se, but
Yeah.
definitely get to market the jobs that I have done in certain ways.
So, I mean, I know when you and I originally talked um, about doing a podcast together, there was like, I think, I don't know if you would call it like stuff you didn't want to talk about, but I don't know. I mean, now you've walked through your career,
Yeah.
and then, in the beginning you talked about your personal experience and with college and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what else you want to, or what else you're willing to talk about.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I know I did. I had mentioned at one point when it was just you and I talking. Um, like I like writing. I reached out to write an article for
Go ahead, yeah.
Because now you just ruined it.
No, what do you mean? I want to
That
hear
was
that part
part
of
of
it.
it.
Well, okay, sorry. We'll fast forward to, I'll rewind, cut it out, and then you can start.
Well, so when I came back, I no, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it.
Wait, did you write a story?
And I was working with an editor to write it, and then I realized that I was only a year and a half into my my army civilian career, and realized you can't profit off of. So I'm like, not that
Not
that
that
would
you
have
were
been
doing it for
right,
the money. You would
right.
just like to write and you were
I
going to
just like
tell
to
us
write,
your experience, your story,
yeah.
right?
And the editor had interest
Hearing.
in hearing it, but I was like, I better not.
Is it Tucker Carlson?
No. No,
Uh,
so I didn't write, but I did just do so just a person. I took a lot of photos while I was over there.
yeah,
So I have all of those photos, and I kind of wrote my own story to go with all of the photos just for memory, and had it just kind of printed in a book for myself. But yeah,
that's cool.
I know. Just you know, and it's been what 21 years almost since I no 20 years this past September, 20 years ago, that I got all these just super cool experiences, like getting to fly one of the unmanned aerial vehicles, from, the joystick, zooming in from 11,000 feet up in the air into the streets of Baghdad and reading license plates. You know, I got to just shoot all kinds of weapons.
Yeah, talk about that one. We can talk about that one. I don't even know what it's called, but the one you have the video of, the one that fires like
Oh,
6,000
yeah.
rounds a second or some
Oh,
ridiculous thing.
gosh, let me think of what
It's not the
that's called.
Viking.
No. Darn, why'd you ask me that?
It's the basically the one that I've seen. It's usually I think like an anti-aircraft.
No, so
I mean,
it's
I
uh so they set them up. So on a military base, they have these set up where the radius covers every single part on that base,
radius of the weapon.
the where it could land. So it goes after bombs or mortars that are being launched in to the bases, and it will fire out at those to destroy those
Yeah,
weapons
yeah, yeah.
before they can land.
Yeah.
And so I got to go do a tour of that weapon, and got a shell casing from it where it was kind of demilitarized, and bring it home for me. And gosh, I'm just blanking on the name of it, but
Hmm.
um, hmm,
I've just seen it
yeah,
where it's on like a battleship or something where,
yeah,
it's shooting,
yep.
you know, it's just like like it's
Oh yeah,
insane how
oh yeah.
many.
It fires so I can't even tell you how many rounds.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
but
I think something like that weapon, and I mean, you guys, was that not in your purview?
yeah,
Meaning, like, it was not small arms.
it's
It's
not a small
basic.
arm.
So
No,
I was just curious, like something like that. Like, how the hell do you cool that thing?
yeah,
You know?
oh yeah, no. Yeah, that one wasn't one of mine. I mean, just the things that they have over in war zones is incredible just
Yeah.
to see, like the balloons that would be up, and you couldn't see the balloon, or you didn't realize how large it was when it's up in the air, but to see it on the ground was
Yeah.
it's massive. Yeah, just completely eye-opening experiences to the capabilities of our incredible US military. It's Department of War.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So
let me ask you about that. With the new Secretary of War,
yeah, Secretary of War.
right? And I believe, I don't know, I'm probably wrong, but I thought that it used to be the Department of War,
Did
and they changed it to Department of Defense. So was it the Secretary of War before it was called the Secretary of Defense? I don't even know.
I don't even know. I'm gonna assume so, yes.
Yeah,
But we won both World War One and Two as the Department of War.
Department of War, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder
So
what it was during Vietnam.
sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, to look it up.
I
Yeah.
think it's just kind of like a guess, what do you want to call it, current event topic, um, and you work for the government in the
Hmm.
Department of, well, the Army, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have a problem with certain things that are going on, and it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
It's an important job. I
it
mean,
is.
uh, I think at this point we're not any like active military, I'll call it like combat situation. So your, you know, whole entire Rock Island arsenal, it's still doing its job though.
Still doing his
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. We're still doing everything we need to do to support our troops.
And I'm guessing, I think I asked you this before, but I can't remember if the other branches of the military have similar things.
Yeah.
Like the Marines, right? They
They,
need weapons too, and I'm assuming they have their own thing, and I'm assuming that the Navy has their own thing,
sure.
and all
Yep.
that. And in the like, if you were looking at like an org chart of the military, it's kind of like silos, right? So
Hmm.
do you ever was there any kind of ever cross pollination like between? Did you ever like say, hey, I wonder how they're doing it? Because I mean, maybe it would be like a learning process to say, hey, hey, we do it
No.
this way, or
I've worked with some joint staffs on other things within my career, but that's not something I guess in my career field that it's been a normal part of what I do. But
well, the only reason I ask, here's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, I was kind of in logistics a little bit too with parts and all that kind of stuff. And I think about how, you can kind of maybe leverage resources. And if you're in a conflict, I'm assuming there's probably mixed branches of military involved.
yep.
So, I mean, to me, it would be like, okay, if you had like a group of Army people and a group of Marines or Special Forces or whoever, it would just make sense that, hey, this guy's weapon is busted too. And this, so like, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's different weapons. So there's some similarities in the weapons. Some of them are exactly the same, but then there's
They
also
use
some
different ones.
differences.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
that makes sense too. And that's the other question I think I have is like, growing up, like I think my dad started with like an M1 rifle, which is like a bolt action rifle, but
Yeah.
then it went from that to the M16,
Okay.
I believe, and I don't
What
know
about the
if it's
M14?
whatever. What
M14 was
did that
one
have a
stop
cartridge?
rifle. I don't know if I had a
Yeah,
cartridge or
anyway.
not, but
But then now, like I just M16, M15, whatever it was, and then I had a really cool experience when I was with GE Capital. Colt Manufacturing was in Connecticut, and I got to go there. I was going to finance like some equipment for them, and I got to go, met with the guy that ran the plant. I think he was pretty high up in the company. He might have been way up there, but um, he took me on a tour, right? So all I see is just weapons. That was the other thing I was going to ask you about is does the U.S. Army make the weapons? Like, because like here's Colt,
no.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
might
yeah, yeah.
buy some too, right? Like
Right.
you buy from them, right? So
Yeah.
I see. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked, but I'm walking and seeing all these weapons being built, and I remember he took me into his office, and it was just it was like a museum. His office, it was huge, and he had all these guns. They were 45 caliber pistols, Colt manufacturer, like so Colt revolver, and then it
Yeah.
went to like a not a revolver, but they would every time there was a new president, they would make a special set of these matching guns with like an ivory handle, and it would be
Mm,
president number whatever and your
yeah.
name, and then they would dedicate them or donate or whatever you want to present them to the president like every year since like Lincoln on or
Oh, wow.
something like whenever the company started. It was kind of a
Yeah.
cool thing. That's kind of cool. I never even mentioned that to you before about that connection in the
Yeah.
like what seeing the weapons, but that got me thinking about, it's why don't we use the same weapon if
Yeah.
we're gonna, you know, like why doesn't each branch use the same?
I'd say they're probably very similar,
Yeah.
um, but not identical. Um, and not all of them are not identical. So there are some differences throughout the branches.
Yeah.
But and one other cool job I didn't get to tell you about, which I think is cool, is probably unique. Um, the Rock Island Arsenal. So the M14 rifle was this older wooden stock rifle.
Hmm.
And we had a program where we were upgrading this rifle to become an enhanced battle rifle. So removing the wooden buttstock, putting on a carbon buttstock and grips and really good Leopold scope. And one of my jobs was to do the test firing on this weapon. Yeah. So I had to fire 8 rounds and get a 3 shot group within they call it a minute of angle. I'm probably going to mess up some of this. It's been a while, but I was signing off on these weapons to go over into, combat. So just unique for, I guess, me being a female who,
Oh, you're a female?
I know, who didn't really fire a lot of weapons growing up, but now I'm working in a small
It
arms
seemed like
field.
you were qualified for doing
I know, right? Agree.
that.
But I had a good shot. And this was just a really cool weapon where just right out of putting it together, you could fire 100 meters and hit your target. You could do dime. I mean, within 8 shots,
Yeah,
you could hit the dime. Yeah, it was incredible.
at 100 yards.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, some cool experiences. And I know I'm forgetting a ton of them, but I've had just, yeah, really amazing experiences throughout my
Yeah,
career so far.
yeah. And I mean, we don't have to talk about like before this new job what you did,
Hmm.
um, so you don't get in trouble. Um, yeah, like I said, I was starting to say, and then we kind of got sidetracked. I was going to say that I know there was some topics that you maybe wanted to share, maybe you didn't. I mean, we don't have to talk about it. We can end it here. I think it's a pretty cool, you know, kind of a I mean, you took a chance, right? Like,
Right.
someone tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I think you should do this," and you did it, and you did it 3 times.
Yeah.
Got all, and no, and maybe even talk. You skipped over. You said you got to go all over the world. Maybe just mention a couple of the
Yeah.
places that you got to go to and how cool
Sure.
that was traveling.
Yeah. So one of my trips was over to Korea and Japan, and I did that trip from leaving the United States to returning back in the United States in 5 days. So,
I think I've done that too.
yeah, oof,
Yeah.
exhausting. But I've been to Hawaii 5 times for work, Alaska 3 times. I've been, California, Georgia, North Carolina, New York. I mean, I've gotten to go everywhere, almost where there's a military base in the United States, and then just some really cool places in Germany. Um, and then when you're in Germany for 4 weeks, we would get the weekends to go tour around. So got to do some touring, see some castles. But yeah, just, yeah,
Do you have a favorite spot that you went? Maybe from a food
gosh,
perspective, or I don't know.
you know,
And then when you guys would travel, you just stay in a regular hotel?
yeah,
Yeah.
just stay. Government has, I guess,
Program.
programs
Yeah.
rates with certain hotels for government rates. Sometimes we'd stay on post in base housing or at their IHG hotels. But yeah, just I mean, in Germany we stayed in bed and breakfast right outside of base, and it was just such a cool experience. But yeah, my favorite place might have been Idaho. Boise, Idaho is
Yeah.
such a pretty city.
Yeah.
And it was just a National Guard base there. But just getting to experience um, the life and the culture outside of the military base. So we did, whitewater rafting and hiking,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
just has really cool green spaces. I fell in love with Boise, Idaho on that trip. But I also loved I got to go up to Alaska and to Fairbanks, so very far north in February, so the dead of winter when it's dark almost all day long. And then I also got to experience Fairbanks in June over the summer solstice where it's light out
Yeah.
24 hours a day. And just, yeah, we always took the time on the weekends to do things in the community. So porta potty races in Fairbanks, Alaska, when
Okay.
it's February is really cool, where you are standing there outside and your beer is freezing before you even get to drink it.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was minus 45 degrees when we touched down, and soldiers still do PT outside and that in those
Yeah,
temps.
yeah, you better,
I
right?
mean, yeah, Whereas I think if it was that cold here in the United, like in the,
They would
lower
say,
states, the
hey,
lower 48, they would be like, we'll take a break for
yeah.
today.
Okay, actually, I did think of a question now when you mentioned temperature. I remember you telling me when you
Mm,
landed, I can't remember where, but share
yeah.
that part, which was like,
So when I landed in Kuwait in September of my first deployment, it was 135 degrees out. And so you're standing, I mean, some people, there's a lot of people who experience those temps, but first time for me, and standing outside in 135 degrees when the wind is blowing, it's just tossing sand in your face as though you're standing in front of a blow dryer the entire time. Like it was, you can't work
how
out.
do people even live there,
Uh,
right?
they, I mean, they cover.
135 seems pretty hot.
It is hot. It's very hot. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, wow.
yeah. So
And
yeah,
you have to wear, and you like when you were there, you have to wear the uniform, and you're
yep.
in uniform.
Wearing the
It's
uniform,
probably
very
not
hot.
comfortable.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that,
Yeah.
I was in Baghdad in 2008 when they got snow for the first time in 90 years.
Holy
Yeah.
mackerel.
So
Huh.
another cool experience. Something, I mean, people have never seen snow in their lifetime up
Yeah.
until that point. Yeah,
Hmm.
I know. And I mean, driving over there.
Is it on the right side
um,
of the road? It is
It
only.
is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like driving here, but when it's rained and that sand mixes with
Oh, it's slick,
mud
right?
on the
Yeah. Oh,
roads,
yeah.
so slick. So yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah. I have a comparable story probably where when I'm running and it's like that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just joking. I mean,
No.
it's
But
pretty bad though.
for a running story for
Oh
you,
boy. Oh
I
yeah.
know. While I was over in Afghanistan in 2019, I did sign up without training to do the Army 10 miler. And never again will I run that many miles.
I mean, I can remember when you said that you were signing up for a.
Yeah, never again.
No, I could walk it
Yeah, walk, yeah, I could walk 10 miles, but running,
if
and
it's perfect weather, though.
there was this awesome chief warrant officer that worked at my battalion. He's like, I'm sticking with you no matter what. He's like, I'm not leaving you behind, even though I was like, no, just go, just go. So I probably ran more than I would have, but man, my hip flexors hurt so bad. I couldn't,
Well, you don't.
and it was flat.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Ugh,
matter if you didn't run,
I know. It
if
was
you didn't
awful.
trained. Come on,
Absolutely awful.
that's
But
funny.
I finished.
Yeah.
So
Did you get a medal?
I don't think that they gave medals.
Oh
No. But I got a picture.
yeah.
So
You know what's funny about medals, and it's totally changing subject, topic, and everything, but I didn't even realize it because I mean I've run the Bix here. I don't know how many times. I think I still have all the bibs, but maybe 10. But anyway, I don't know why, but I thought you got a medal every year, and you don't.
hmm.
It's on like every 5 years or something.
I feel like I've gotten a medal the few times I've done it, but
You mean the one that someone left and you just took
maybe.
it and started wearing it
Yeah.
at the eighth mile?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So yeah.
um, I don't know what else you want to talk about.
I feel like that was my chance that I took. I've encouraged a lot of people that have, I guess I've mentored
Yeah,
along the way to take those chances as well. I did bring, was it two or three Army civilians that worked over with me back here. I encouraged them to deploy in Afghanistan in 2019. It's just, I mean, if you're able to, it's just the coolest experience for your career, for you personally. Um, I mean, financially, it was a great decision. So, yeah, and I know those opportunities are very far and few between right now,
yeah,
which I think that's a good thing. But
yes,
yes, so yeah, I always encourage people to try something, step out of your comfort zone, do something you might not normally do, and I think amazing things come from it. So, yeah.
yeah. There was a quote that I said I saw online earlier about running, and it said something about runners don't like running; they just ignore what it was it.
Gosh, what was
It was
it?
so cool. It was like they just ignore. the
I don't remember.
the voice that says something like this is gonna suck or something like that, or they're able to avoid that thought of
Yeah.
not wanting to do it.
Yeah. 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 So thanks for having me. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know that I had a choice.
Yeah, you did. You had a
Just
choice. You had a choice
kidding.
in the beginning. You could have
Yeah.
interviewed me, or I could interview you.
Yeah.
And I know that that would have taken some preparation on your part if you were going to do
Yes.
it. But thank you
Yeah.
for sharing. I think it's really cool. Um, I think that what you still do is really cool stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have anything else. I mean, I have a million questions, but I appreciate you doing it. I know it was hard for you.
Yeah. I'm sweating over here.
I know. With you when you have a blanket
I
on.
know.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks.